we're going to be dividing our paper into 3 sections for our triptych. And we want to do this really evenly, so there's a way that we're going to do it which requires that we kind of understand how to use our ruler. For this, we're going to be using the rough side. So kind of figure out where that rough side is. That's the side we're going to be using. And we're going to be using these little plastic rulers. So these are a little bit tricky, but you can see we're going to figure it out together. Don't panic. On this side that's closest to the edge, you have your centimeters, and here you have your inches. So every time you see a 1, the little dash below it, that is the line where that 1 inch is. 2, 2 inches. 3, 3 inches, so on and so forth. So the ruler really begins at this first line right here. So we don't want to line it up with the edge of the ruler. We actually want to line it up with that little mark. So go ahead and line it up along the edge. We're going to be measuring along the long portion. Start with that little edge lined up perfectly, and locate the 5-inch mark. And on that 5-inch mark, you're going to carefully make a little tiny mark. I'm using a pen so you can see it, but you will absolutely be using a pencil. You will be using a pencil. So now I have my 5-inch mark, and I'm going to kind of slide my ruler over, line up again that line with that 5-inch mark, measure over 5 inches, and make a tiny little mark. So now on my paper along the long side I have 2 marks which divide this space up into 3 equal sections. Now I'm going to flip it over. I'm not going to flip it like this. I'm just going to rotate it so that I'm looking at the other side. I can still, from this side, see my little marks. We don't want to flip it over to the other side completely. So now I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to line up this little mark along the edge of my paper, measure over 5 inches. Here's that 5 mark, 5 inches. Make a tiny little dash. Move my ruler so that this line is lined up with that first little dash that I made. And again, I'm going to measure, here's my 5, make another tiny little dash. So now on my paper, along one side, the long side, I have 2 little dashes, and on the other side, I have 2 little dashes. So now I'm going to connect them. So, let's see if we can see it. There we go. I have 2 dashes across from each other. I'm going to take my ruler, line those dashes up exactly, and connect them. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same thing with my second pair of dashes. Connect those dashes and draw my line. Okay, so now I have 3 perfectly even sections in my triptych so that we can get started.